I like this new setup. It's not bad. Okay, so let's talk about some new products that just dropped recently. We have Ultimate Ears releasing the UE Boom 3 and the UE MEGABOOM 3. According to The Verge, it's a complete redesign. So if you look over here, indeed, they look very different. The speakers are a lot more angular, much like the UE Blast and the Mega Blast speakers that was released a few months ago. On top of the speakers, you now have a button that serves as your pause and play button, which is a welcome addition, because if you own a UE speaker, you probably know that they don't have pause and play buttons. Okay, so you have to do everything from the phone. But not only does it pause and play your music, it says here that it also plays and cycles through one of 4 presets. Presets can be your playlists from Apple Music or Deezer Premium. But how about Spotify and Pandora? It says here on The Verge that services like Spotify and or Pandora are not currently supported, but that deals for additional sources are in the works. So they didn't specifically say that either services will be supported in future. Possibly it will be supported, but if Spotify is indeed supported, it'll be a very, very big thing, because most people I know use either Apple Music or Spotify. Now the speakers also come with cloth loops, so I'm assuming that the small little metal loop at the bottom of the UE Boom 2 is gone. Not a bad thing, actually. Okay, check this out. Now they both float. Okay, so just like the UE Wonder Boom, you don't have to dive down to the bottom of the pool to retrieve your speakers if they fall into the swimming pool, okay? You can just pick them up from the surface of the water. Now the micro USB charging port has been moved to the side of the speaker instead of being at the bottom, which is a big improvement in my view, because previously it wasn't so easy to charge your speaker while you're using the speaker at the same time. The thing is at the bottom, so you gotta lay the speaker flat on the table, which is not very ideal. But micro USB though, why aren't they updating to the USB-C charging port standard? Because it says here that UE told The Verge that they decided to stick with the older port due to the market not being ready yet in terms of USB-C adoption, which is total bullshit. My MacBook uses USB-C. All the latest B&O products use USB-C charging ports. So it's just a simple matter of providing the cable. So when UE says that the market is not yet ready for USB-C, please, I call bullshit on that. Okay, the reason could be that it is due to cost concerns. Maybe they have in their warehouse a lot of micro USB to USB cables left, and they want to be able to get rid of those first before moving on to the USB-C standard. So I don't know, it seems like a pretty viable explanation to me. You know, they're not gonna outright say that. So market not being ready is exactly what I would expect UE to say. So just like the Mega Blast and Blast speakers, the new UE speakers will also have an optional charging base that you can purchase separately for $39 USD, so that you can dock to charge instead of plugging in a USB cable. I think that approach is much neater, much better. It's an approach that Bose has been using for quite some time. So it's nice to see UE going in that direction. The UE Boom 3 and the MEGABOOM 3 both retails for $149 USD and $199 USD respectively. They are both going to be available from mid-September onwards. I'm pretty excited, but I don't think I will be able to review it so soon. Usually it's going to be a few months after the release in the US before the product is released in Singapore. So I look forward to reviewing this speaker for you guys. If you want to watch that review, hit the subscribe button down below and don't forget to hit the notifications bell to join my notification squad. Let's move on to the more exciting part. Sony has also dropped a new product, and this product I've been anticipating for a while, and it solves one big problem that it had with the previous version. This is the new WH-1000XM3 wireless noise cancelling headphones. This will be available for pre-order from mid-September onwards. Let's talk about some of the similarities with the previous model and some of the differences as well, okay? Okay, as you can see, they look quite similar to the previous model. Now they also sport a slimmer profile with deeper ear cups. So I'm assuming that this is going to be a little bit more comfortable than the previous model, because I know some of the complaints that were had about the M2 and the M1 models were that the ears didn't have much leeway in the ear cups, so it wasn't that comfortable in a sense. So this is probably going to solve the issue. I wouldn't know until I've really tried one for myself. You got the same driver size, so no changes there. 40mm liquid crystal dome, driver. Sense Engine makes a reappearance here. It's the electronics that drives adaptive noise cancellation in the headphones. You'll also be seeing again Sony's LDAC wireless high-res transmission and DSEE-HX, which is technology that patches missing bits of your signal to produce higher quality audio. Of course, you'll be fairly familiar with swipe controls that lets you control your music with swipes on the right ear cup, and ambient pass-through mode, which passes through ambient sounds when you tap your left hand on the left ear cup. So these features make their reappearance here in the M3. So if you already own the older M1 or M2 models and you're thinking of upgrading to the M3, it won't be such a different user experience, but there are some key differences here that I need to touch on. First of all, you will have USB-C charging. So ultimate ears, what excuse have you got? Okay, so USB-C charging, previously you needed to charge 10 minutes before you could get 70 minutes of playback time. Now by charging 10 minutes you get 5 hours of playback time, which is a drastic improvement here. So USB-C fast charging is fast becoming a thing, and ultimate ears, please, you gotta hurry up, adopt USB-C, give us fast charging. Okay, I'm getting too heated up, I need to calm down. Alright, let's carry on. The new M3s also have new noise cancelling processor called the HDQN1. Sony claims that you'll get 4 times greater noise cancelling performance. Now I have my doubts, okay, because the M2 already cancels out a lot of noise. Okay, in terms of noise cancelling, they are on par with even the venerable Bose QC35 Series 2. So 4 times greater noise cancelling, what does that mean? So let's take this 4 times greater noise cancelling performance thing with a grain of salt. So until I manage to get my hands on a pair and review it for you guys, I cannot confirm that the headphones is going to have such a drastic improvement in noise cancelling over the previous model. Stay tuned for my review of the M3 model when I get my hands on a pair. Let's move on. And this next difference is going to be a huge one, because if I may say so myself, this is going to be the biggest improvement to the 1000XM3 as compared to the M2 and M1 models. Because I reviewed the M1 and the M2 before on this channel, and if you'd like to watch my review of the M2, you can click right over here. And one of my biggest gripes about both the M1 and M2s is the fact that you cannot use these headphones as simply noise cancelling headphones without being connected to a device. So previously, if you disconnect your headphones from your phone, what will happen is that the headphones will automatically shut off after 5 minutes. This means that you will not be able to use the headphones as simply a pair of noise cancellers when you're commuting. And to me, that was the biggest flaw that prevented the Sony WH-1000XM1 and M2s from being truly great noise cancelling headphones, because all other noise cancelling headphones can do that. You can simply disconnect it from your phone and continue using them as pure noise cancellers, as they should be. And there were many users who brought it up, but apparently it was a hardware thing and not a software thing, so Sony couldn't solve it for the users through a software update. But with the new M3s, automatic off mode is something that you can now switch off in the Headphones Connect app. It's a little late because I started bitching about this issue back in 2016, and even in 2017 when they released the M2, the issue wasn't solved, so I bitched about it more. But too late is better than never, I guess. So here are my predictions for the WH-1000XM3. Provided that Bose and Sennheiser don't release anything new the next year, the M3 will come to dominate the noise cancelling headphones market. Already now on the trains, I could see everywhere people using the M2s. And wow, if the M3 with its new features and having solved that automatic off annoyance, it's going to easily corner the market. It retails for 549 Singapore dollars or 349 US dollars and is available for pre-order from mid-September onwards. In Singapore, you can start pre-ordering from the 6th to the 19th of September in conjunction with COMEX. COMEX is this Singaporean consumer electronics fair. So yeah, it's been quite an exciting day. First the Boom 3 and the MEGABOOM 3, and now the WH-1000XM3. These are all products that I want to review on this channel. And this coming month, in the month of September, I will be reviewing more products. I think I will have a few Marshall products coming in, possibly even a JBL product coming in. So if you want to watch those review videos when they come up, please consider subscribing and remember to ring the bell to join my notification squad, because I upload videos every single week, review videos and other content, and this is the only way you'll be notified. So bros, thank you again for watching. My name is Aaron, you're watching Aaron is Loud and Wireless, and I'll see you in the next video. Face palm out!